with a warehouse packed full of Brazil world champion thongs. It's the Vocal Minority Podcast.
We can just turn them into hand-strong bracelets, right?
Yeah, I think that would work.
As a thong, it's ridiculous because all those stars just add extra fabric. Stupid.
Raise your voice.
But you need
Progresso.
stars to help cover things up, really.
Well, I guess. But then why have a thong at all?
That's a very good point.
Anyways, we got to make our money back on these somehow, you guys.
Fair.
Slingshots.
Ooh. There we go.
Sexy slingshots.
Get your sexy slingshots here.
Can we repurpose them into anything French or Argentinian?
Not easy.
Stitch a bunch together as a beret or a baguette holder? You know, over the shoulder baguette carrier or something.
You know how many thongs you have to stitch together to hold a baguette?
I don't know. Well, if you stretch it out and I don't know. No, then you'd crush the baguette. No one wants a crushed baguette.
Just ask our well-hung listeners. Support us on Patreon.
Can
Our
we
OnlyFans link is...
Can we just sell them as like extremely fancy, bespoke, expensive toilet paper in Argentina? I think they go for that.
That seems reasonable. All right. Well, hello and welcome to this week's episode of the Vocal Minority Podcast, the podcast that will laugh at certain players' tears. Oh, yes, we will. They're delicious.
It's true.
On this week's show, we look back at pretty exciting quarter and semifinal rounds at the World Cup. Some good matches. Celebrate a hometown boy. Get excited about a union. Look ahead to the final and more. And now this week's panel. Delighted by some of the exits. Welcome to Duncan Fletcher.
Yes, I'm not going to deny that. It's been a lot of fun to have with that. Yep, agreed.
Good. Trying to decide if he should cheer for the best kit. It's Mark Hinckley.
It's a hard sell as to which way.
I know.
Do you go with talent? Do you go with the emotional, story-driven attachment, or you just go for fashion? In which case, Japan should have won this thing already. But whatever.
Wishing Lloris would pretend he's playing for France when the EPL starts back up. Say hello to Tony Walsh.
Sacre bleu.
Man, he's having a good tournament. He's gonna suck in the next match. The next first match, I mean. The next first match? Wizard? No, that's Harry.
Yeah, of what?
Pain?
Waverly Place.
Wow.
Don't ask me where that came from. I've never watched that show. Feeling better about my choice to choose Argentina as the eventual winner, she says now, thereby cursing Argentina. I am your host, Kristin Knowles. Now to our show.
When did you choose that? Like
2 shows ago.
Oh, 2 days. What, 2 days ago?
2 shows ago.
Oh, okay. All right. To the show.
Yeah, Tony, maybe you should listen to one once in a while.
Yeah.
I record it. That's enough work.
You record it? I mean, your voice gets recorded by Mark.
Yeah. Thus trapping my essence within the Vocal Minority Podcast.
Mom and Dad, stop fighting. We're only just started this thing.
Let's turn this around.
Let's pull this podcast over.
Boys.
All right. First, what's been happening? Of course, what's been happening is the World Cup and the quarterfinals and the semifinals. Quarterfinals. You know what? That was a great quarterfinal round. Some delightful upsets, some really good matches, more penalties. I think chief among probably the best one, I think the best one is Morocco beating Portugal. That one's the best one. That one's
no, Argentina versus Netherlands was best. I mean, let's not beat around the bush here. That was the best game out there. Just for the fucking shithousery and villainy and
there was a lot of that.
Plus, then it's like the drama and then all that. Come on. That game had everything.
Yes, but Morocco beat Portugal.
Sure,
Yeah, that was the biggest
Portugal
upset, but
had-
yeah.
had
But okay, yeah, that's right. The
Netherlands.
biggest upset, the most delightful match, absolutely, was Argentina Netherlands.
Result charming. Game, yeah, Argentina Netherlands.
100%. Oh yeah, no, that game was ridiculous. Like I still just watched. Like that's one of those ones that people talk about is that particular match.
It's gonna be an ESPN classic.
Like the Croatia Brazil match, sure, whatever. Delightful.
That was good too.
It was a good match. It was actually, some heartwarming stuff. And was it Perisic's kid that went to comfort Neymar or something?
Yeah.
I hope Neymar told him to fuck off.
It did not appear that he did, unless he was whispering it in his ear, and we just don't know, right?
I do enjoy that Neymar didn't get to take a penalty. I love it when teams decide to put their best player shooting fifth, and then it never gets to them. I
know, and I will never understand it. I never understand it. I guess there's something to be said for it tactically, but it always seems to go against them.
I just love the assumption that you're gonna get to 5, guys. We're gonna get to 5. So here's the 5. Oh, you're number 6. Sorry, you're not good enough to be in this group of 5. You didn't even get to 5, assholes. Explain it to me. Walk me back. At the very least, the first 3 are guaranteed. That's the thing.
Yeah.
First 3 shots are guaranteed. You should put his ass third. Best shot taker, you want to have 3 goals.
Like that's your anchor right there. That can turn the tide for you. If things have fucked up in the first couple, put your best guy right there in the middle to bring everybody back.
Counterpoint, score more goals in regulation. Like at this point, you've already fucked it, okay? And I'm saying both teams. You've already screwed this up. If you're at penalties, it means for 120 minutes, you didn't fucking do enough, okay? You literally are now at the precipice of losing to a coin toss. If you're not going to gamesmanship is too late. You can't do gamesmanship at that point. Get your goals in as soon as possible and let the other team chase you for once. But no, let's put him 5th. We're going to need him at 5th. Yeah, that assumes that the other 4 don't fuck it. You'll never be able to make it make sense, honestly.
Yeah,
honestly.
No, I agree.
I love it when that happens. It's magical.
Yeah, no, I'm all for it. The backfire. It's like you are a fucking dummy.
But the best thing about it was that there was all of the thereby immediate comparisons a few hours later to the Argentina Netherlands match, where of course Messi, first guy up. Beautiful penalty, sets his team, it was just, so that's all you heard for hours and hours afterwards. Oh, comparison. It just sort of like added to it, right? It's like, haha. But yeah, for the most part, very exciting quarterfinal round. The France-England match, should we talk about it? Do you want to talk about it? Do you guys feel okay to talk about it? Are you good?
Sure.
Yeah, fine.
Shit happens. It happens this way all the time.
I know.
I obviously didn't want England to lose, but I was glad it ended it as a regular match, not fucking penalty kicks. Like it was a decent match.
Well,
they both played well.
Kind of ended on penalty kicks.
Two decent teams. Mm-hmm. Right? They both played well enough. Neither were at the top of their game. It's just you lose football matches. It is, the Kane hatred is
ridiculous.
It was expected by the insanity that is the media out of
for sure
the UK. But
is there actually Kane hatred? I don't feel like I've seen any of that tweeted over my tweet.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God, I've seen it.
Definitely more. It's very club driven, of course.
It is. It's excessively club driven, but
whatever. It happens. Get in line with the list of huge football stars who've missed penalties.
Whatever at the World Cup.
And anyway, Like, I don't know. Even if they would have tied it up at that spot, who knows? Who knows how the rest of the game would have gone? It was France is a very, very deep team considering the injuries to guys you thought would be starters.
Oh, I know. Well, and then the players for France that have stepped up during this World Cup.
Yeah, it was a shame for English fans that England lost, but there was no shame in losing to France. If you know what I mean.
True.
Oh, I don't think so. It was actually, you know what? It was out of the 4 quarterfinal matches, it was actually probably the most enjoyable one to watch in terms of the football. Like maybe, I don't know, Argentina, Netherlands, they were too busy beating on each other. But I think because both teams had their moments where they had control of the game for a while. They had some beautiful moments. There was some nice play, and then it would shift. I think it was, everything else was kind of like a war of attrition, because of the penalties, because of Morocco desperately hanging on, down a man, all that stuff. So like dramatics and just that defensive play by them. But the England-France match just had a different quality to it. So to me, it was unfortunate that was how it was lost in a sense. Like, yeah, obviously score more goals. Yeah. But
there's always a villain to England losing. They always lose, and there's always going to be a villain. True. I'm fine with that villain being Harry Kane. It's not as entertaining as '98 when it was David Beckham. That was that was very entertaining. But sure.
Yeah, and it'll be someone next at Euros, and then it'll be someone after that at the next one.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, just the way it is.
If it had to be anyone from this team, Harry Kane, sure, I'm happy with that. And it did have to be someone. There's always someone. So yeah, let's go with him.
Yeah.
But whatever. Shit happens. He scored one. Nobody else did.
Yeah. No. And a very nice one. Like it was, as it was happening, a friend was texting me, and I was like, if anyone can stop him, it's Lloris, because, well, 1, he's good at that. 2, they play together and have for I don't know how many years. So if there's anyone that knows how this guy takes penalties, it's him. So there was always an opportunity that something was going to go awry anyway. But that first penalty he took was excellent. It was very well taken penalty. So the second one though, just unfortunate. But it happens.
Yep. Lloris didn't stop him, just Earth's stupid lack of intense gravity.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. Where was the invisible net that was supposed to redirect it?
Look, according to what Twitter was kind enough to share with me, he just converted a penalty, just the wrong fucking sport.
He loves it. That guy loves the NFL, man.
He does love the NFL. He
loves
really
a rugger.
Does.
Yeah, 3 points for that in rugby. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Good point.
That really took hold of that one. But I don't know. I the hate doesn't surprise me because English media is toxic as fuck, and I feel bad for him because not mostly just because he's gonna get an absurd amount of shit for this, which he did, and will continue to. But France were the better team. France have been such the better team all tournament, and if anybody was genuinely surprised to see England lose here, like just realistically, surprised. Like, are you? First question: you English? And then if it's yes, no. If it's yes, continue on. Were you watching the tournament? Because I mean, like England are good. They're not World Cup final good, like finalist good. They're good enough to be here. They're good enough to be in the quarterfinals. I don't know if they're one of the 4 best teams of this tournament, but but they held their own, and that's the thing. Like I feel like we've kind of addressed this, is that they didn't look out of place, which I was expecting them to look incredibly out of place. I thought they were going to genuinely be exposed for the overhype that is typically with an English team, but they look pretty competent. They look great at times. And
they got to the final of Euro, whatever, just like a year ago, Mark.
I'm sorry. I don't know
this
what you're talking about.
This isn't like your fucking golden generation, Beckham and all those fucks. Gerrard and Lampard. Oh, we're really good. Fuck off. No, you were never anywhere near any good. These guys are actually quite good.
Was that even a real tournament? Honestly.
Great tournament. You stop it.
Yeah. So my point is that while Euro, that was great, but there's also a couple other countries in this that are pretty damn good that aren't in Euro. So diluted, right? That's what I'm more or less going is diluted. And I was happy with the outcome, not so much that England lost, but that they looked good. They looked very good.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. I enjoyed, just to go back to the Harry Kane thing, I just love the fact that, if he'd scored that would have been him becoming England's all-time leading goal scorer.
Oh, God,
with a goal
right.
in the quarterfinals of the World Cup to tie it up and everything. And now that's going to happen in some fucking Euro qualifier against
right.
Friendly versus Armenia.
Yes,
exactly. Didn't they drop down to the lower tier in Nations League?
Oh, let's hope so.
Oh
so
my
yeah,
God.
it'll be like some like midweek international versus I don't know. Like pick your poison there, Moldova. I don't know.
Yeah. But yeah, it could have been all the fucking glory to tie up the World Cup quarterfinal. No. So that amuses me.
That is amusing. I will join you in your amusement. That is amusing.
Well, Wayne Rooney gets to dine out a little bit longer.
Yes. Yes.
He doesn't have to give it. He doesn't have to retire his England's leading scorer sequin robe
just yet. So what the quarterfinals gave us then were two pretty interesting semifinal matches. Yesterday and today. Yesterday's match, Argentina versus Croatia, really Messi versus Modric. Two of the greats, possibly playing in their last World Cup matches. Blah blah blah. Meaningful, whatever. Blah blah blah. Like.
Was it Borat announcing this?
Yes.
Last match is la la la.
But and then you've got France, who has arguably been the best team in the tournament so far, certainly the most consistent, playing, the underdog, the Cinderella story, the team that just does, refuses to back down. Also, a little bit of colonizer humor in there. So
it was always going to be France, just the injuries that Morocco had and suspension. Whoever was France of England, this was like there for the taking.
Yeah.
Morocco had to be exhausted. Yeah, they put up a good fight.
And just watching, they clearly were, but good Lord, the effort.
Yeah, indeed.
And those, a couple of those chances. Oh,
yeah, but yeah, those. I mean, some great chances, some great individual runs, but they were out of the supporting cast on a lot of them were out of gas, like just couldn't be in the right spot.
Even just the last
but that being said, also kudos to France's defense, which just was a wall at points,
definitely. And again, Lloris with a couple very good saves.
Hugo.
He's having a very good tournament.
Spursy.
But then the Argentina-Croatia match yesterday, a little bit of a different story. Less of a back and forth. Once that first goal for Argentina went in,
it was just a fourth.
Yeah.
Again, you got to think Croatia's got to be pretty, didn't have the injuries, what have you. You got to think they're pretty exhausted as well. They've done, all the overtimes and all that sort of thing. It's,
they've played a lot. Yeah. And, but to get to see, and everyone is going to talk about this over and over again, and as well they should, because that run from Messi and that pass to Alvarez, that's just ridiculous. So much fun to watch. I've watched that. I've lost track of the number of times I've watched that. It was just so beautiful. And yes, I'm a huge fan of his, but man, what a play. It was ridiculous.
Yeah.
Spectacular. Just watching them run down the length of the pitch was was just like I like it was by about 3/4 of the run. I was like, please let this be a goal, because it's just.
What a waste if it wasn't a goal, right?
But like exactly, like it was almost like it was almost vaudevillian to like a film where they're trying to track down trying to stop a train or like a wagon from getting away, and they have no idea how to stop it, but they keep getting in front of it, and the wagon makes these weird turns, and it was just like no matter what Croatia was doing, it was never gonna be enough to stop this thing. So the fact that it resulted in a goal was just chef's kiss. It was just that run was just. I feel like I've had that happen to me so many times in FIFA, and it was nice to see it in real life. You know, it's never me doing that goal. Never me. It's always like, fuck, why did I mistime this tackle? Why did he switch to this guy? It was kind of like that. So seeing that in real life just makes me less embarrassed all the times it happened to me in a video game. But my God, what a wonderful, wonderful bit of business. Jeez.
Mm-hmm. But, you know, obviously Messi is the big story, but I'm taking it for Argentina as a whole. I feel like they're the, you know, if they were just an individual player, it would be Luis Suarez. Argentina is like the Luis Suarez of teams. Talented, really good at the shithousing, occasionally tilting into full-on villainy. You can't not like them. And obviously growing up in the English 80s, you kind of, growing up English in the 80s, you grow up with, Argentina, like the ultimate fucking super villain you hate and everything. Yeah. And, you know, I kind of carried that with me for a while, but now it's just like, no, these guys are really fucking entertaining.
Yeah.
In a bunch of different ways.
Yeah. I found them far more likable than I expected. I was very focused on Messi, obviously, but throughout the tournament it was like, oh, this is like you said, this is kind of fun. Okay, I'll settle in for this.
That guy just kicking the ball into the bench for no good reason against the Netherlands.
Oh my God.
Fantastic.
It's like, what are you
That's
doing,
the sort of thing I can get behind. Never mind your mazy dribbles and what have you. That kind of shithousery, yes, I'm on board with Argentina.
But yeah, what a fun sort of like rounding into the last two games. What a fun few days this has been, really. Kind of, I don't know, like everything else aside, you know, where it's located, all the issues with the country and the corruption and everything. And I've seen so many people say this: if this World Cup were being held somewhere else, we would be talking like this would just be like one of the classic World Cups based on the football and the stories from the matches and the players involved and the players not advancing and the teams knocked out and the teams that did advance. You know, like Morocco obviously is almost the story of the World Cup. It will be superseded by whomever wins, because it's either going to be France repeating or Messi finally winning, right? So those are two massive stories. But right up there is going to be Morocco doing something very unexpected. As a smaller country, as an African country, as an Arab country, like there's so many storylines, right? So anyway, but yeah, it's been just based on the football. This has been a really enjoyable World Cup. For me, anyway.
Absolutely.
Agreed.
And, you know, it's a very kind of harsh in a way. I mean, yeah, obviously there are problems with Qatar, but, you know, you go back, you know,
Brazil.
Sort of Russia was the last one. Then, you know, to Brazil, clearly there's like issues
horrible.
Like South Africa. You'll go back any like country out there, they've got like shit going on. And obviously Qatar has the probably more really obvious corruption, because, you know, a lot of those other countries had, you know, it's like the population or the landmass to justify all the various stadiums and what have you, or, you know, the footballing history, and all the stadiums are right there. And putting in a Qatar was just a nonsense decision. But just the whole of Qatar is a uniquely evil country, much more than any other country that's ever hosted the World Cup.
No,
not so much.
And look where the next one's being held. Oh yeah.
Yeah, what could go wrong?
Oh no corruption or war crimes or anything like that.
Yeah, yeah.
It's fine.
Yeah, I mean, he was going to be the president of the US and for the 2026 World Cup. Yeah, it could be the
Dwayne the Rock Johnson.
maybe
Gatorade on the crops.
It
helps.
Can
it helps.
you smell what the president's cooking?
Oh God. What was the? It's full of electrolytes that helps plants grow. What was it?
Yes,
Is that what it was?
Something like that.
Yeah. I mean, it could be full on idiocracy by then. If you haven't seen the movie, folks, give yourself 20 minutes and then you can bail if you don't like it. But I don't think you will.
Worth it. I agree with Mark.
Like with the Donald and Pierre and whoever the Mexican equivalent of Donald and Pierre is that are in charge of things. It's
Oh boy!
Never mind
excited.
the World Cup. It might be Hunger Games.
I was gonna say, I don't know, man. I'm just gonna stay in my currently still expensive, but not nearly as expensive as everybody else's apparently Toronto apartment, and not move.
Oh yeah, I'm Burlington for life at this point, so I get it.
Yeah, no fucking kidding. Unless again, I still think that the plan to sublet this place could pay my rent for a year. I don't know.
Yeah, quite possibly.
Yeah, if you like Timmins,
Duncan,
sure.
I can come stay in the basement, right? I can just sleep down there.
Sure. Yeah, we can make that work. Yeah.
I'll cat sit, whatever. Anyway,
aside from realities,
you can just hang out in our backyard. We got a hammock. We got a hammock, a barbecue, and some plants. You'll be fine. You'll get all you need out there.
I'll be fine. The raccoons, I can hang with the raccoons. Yes. It'll be good. One other thing before we move on from what's been happening, and it's a bit sad. Well, more than a bit sad, is one of the non-football stories that has come out this last week. Was during the Argentina-Netherlands match, was the tragic passing of noted American soccer journalist Grant Wahl, who collapsed in the media section during the match, was unable to be revived, died on the way to the hospital or at the hospital, under a lot of speculation because of stories he writes and the things he chooses to cover, highlighting gay rights and that sort of thing, especially in this environment. And it's turned out it was an aortic aneurysm. There was nothing that could have been done. Likely brought on by exhaustion and stress, which they'd all been going through because everyone is working many, many, many hours in a desert, right? Going from venue to venue, covering stories, that kind of thing. Anyways, it's very sad, and not just because someone has died. That is tragic. And he was a very youngish guy, a couple of years. He was our age, right? He's a couple of years younger than me, so he's in and around your guys' age. But the loss to not just the many people that knew him, and to see the reactions on social media from people that we know and people that we don't, but friends of ours, journalists that we're friends with, that we know, who have considered him a friend or a mentor or someone that they'd worked with or worked for, who'd helped their career. Like the stories just poured in from everywhere, are still pouring in. Everyone sharing their Grant Wahl experiences. The thing that I found interesting, that I want to mention at least, is that, well, one, his commitment to covering women's soccer, which was, noted amongst a lot of, it's tough to get someone who is high profile to consistently put women's soccer at the forefront. But what I found really interesting was the number of people who were saying, I didn't always agree with him. In fact, a lot of times I didn't like him at all. And I didn't like what he had to say. I didn't like the way he was covering this or the tack he took or the conversation we had online. But I still respected him for something else, or the fact that I heard a lot of people saying, like, if he was being a dick online, and he absolutely could be, he would often message people and be like, you know what? That was my fault. I was being an absolute jerk. I'm really sorry. Can we move past this kind of thing? And the fact that he would at least own his assholery, I appreciate hearing about. But anyways, I was very sad. I was actually surprised at how much it affected me, because I had absolutely no relationship with Grant Wall other than, like I said, maybe a few interactions with him on Twitter several years back, kind of thing. But anyway, that's my piece on it.
Yeah, I think the impact that what I'm sure I've read some of his articles, no question. And I mean, I'm mostly, this is on me, is that I don't typically pay attention to who the writers are. And that's just me. I know you guys tend to, shall we say, make note of who's writing it, and you build, those catalogs in your head as to who's good and who isn't and what have you. That's fine. That's just not me. That being said, reading the number of it's not even so much like condolences, but just like the outpouring of, like, he's done so much to cover women's soccer. He's done so much to cover lower league soccer. It's not just, MLS world stuff. Like, it's like he was covering it a huge chunk of it. And to me, that's a massive loss. Like, I'm sure, I know there are other writers who are covering those beats, and that's great, but that's a huge range of coverage that the sport kind of needs. And if you're the type of person that follows the writings of Grant Wall, it's important to see that he's writing about the NWSL as he is about writing USL2, as he is about writing MLS or your Champions League. Just the fact that he had enough of a name and a cachet to shed the light onto, no disrespect intended, lesser leagues, like leagues that just don't have that kind of attention, eyeballs, notoriety. Like, they exist, but you know nothing about them, is massive. I'm sure other writers do this too, but I follow enough accounts who follow, whether it's, USL teams, whether it's NWSL teams, whether it's, was it the UPSL? Like, they all recognize the impact he had on the game as a whole. And me recognizing that impact it's really like, I know it's tragic, but like, what a loss for the footy community. It really is. Like, just the number of I guess, the amount of people he's touched in that way, in that, like, look what this article did for this thing, for this club, for this person, this player, this, I hope there's somebody who is going to fill the void, maybe not necessarily his void, but a void in general. Someone's going to rise up and be the next Grant Wall to bring those stories to the forefront and continue preaching the good book of footy. So that realization hurt me the most, because I love this game and I love talking about it and I love watching it, and knowing that one of the good guys is no longer going to be there. It's like, geez, that's a hit.
Yeah.
So that sucks. Obviously it sucks, but like, I feel like there's so many stories to be told, and with lower leagues, whether that's, fifth division Germany, the Ontario, League One Ontario, like UPSL, whatever, it doesn't matter. There's so many of those things that just, I need coverage, and, thank you to everyone who's ever covered those things, but it needs to be more of it. And having somebody who was that attachment to those, from the small focus to a national audience, that's a massive loss. So sucks.
Mm-hmm. And not just like promoting the game. I mean, again, you've seen things, a lot of people on Twitter, putting out their own little things about what they knew about him. And it seems like he was very, very encouraging for anyone who was kind of just starting out, like in the business, where there's just, sort of bloggers essentially. And I think there's a lot of mainstream media people who will be just like very fucking dismissive of anyone who isn't actually some kind of person there in the press box all the time and everything, and just say, yeah, fuck you down there. And yeah, apparently, from a lot of people are saying there, if we've had interactions with him, he was not like that at all. So, it wasn't just like the game itself that he was trying to promote. He was definitely, apparently very good at sort of helping out other people who are trying to make their way in that trade. So I can definitely sort of respect that from, after reading about all those various, but a lot of different people who've come out and said like similar things about him, about how he would, be just very, willing to talk with them or what have you, just online and supportive. Just like, that, for like a big shot guy who's at like Sports Illustrated and regularly on TV and this and that, and just a very high profile, to actually be, supportive and civil and friendly with kind of like people who are just starting out in the business, and say, good for you. So yeah, it's very sad.
Yeah, and I think you mentioning Sports Illustrated, he was, while there's been, there's a lot of North American, and if we want to just say American journalists who concentrate on the sport, for him, he's like pretty much the first one I could think of who was like at an institution like Sports Illustrated that only gave the sport a passing nod, usually World Cup, whatever, the odd little thing here and there. But he was there like soccer reporter, like that was his love. It was his thing. And like, he didn't, usually we're used to guys who wrote about the sport also wrote about hockey or something else, it was their side reporting game. But he was like the first, not first, but first maybe very prominent American one that, that was his gig. This sport was his gig. It wasn't that, he's the roving reporter that covered a bunch of sports. And when the World Cup came around, he also wrote about that. So, yeah, I mean, I don't think his parting with Sports Illustrated was the best at the time, but for the while he was there, he probably brought the sport to a lot more eyes than his contemporaries.
Well, and that's actually the sort of the last thing I kind of wanted to bring up. Yeah, like he'd been at Sports Illustrated for over 20 years. Mm-hmm. And made, as you said, decided to make soccer his focus after being sort of a multi-sport writer. Did that, that huge story on LeBron James when he was still a teenager, that iconic cover of him, that kind of thing. But during the pandemic, when salaries were being cut, and when Sports Illustrated tried to make a fairly large pay cut permanent, he spoke up and he spoke out and he said, this isn't right. And he got fired for it. And I respect him for that. Like I respected him for that then. I lost a bit of respect when he decided to go work for Fox Sports, but then walked away from that too for just them being Fox. But he was someone that, worked with unions, that tried to stand up for his fellow journalists and try to make things fair and equitable, and regardless of whatever else, like you guys said, like there's a lot of good things to remember about Grant Wahl as a writer and a person and someone in this community that we have all been part of in various ways for a really long time. Like we've all been bloggers, we've all been writers, we've been podcasters for a decade. This is our, we're in a small corner of this world, but this is our world too. And to see someone who did that much for the sport and for the writing for the sport and that kind of thing. It's a big loss. So, Grant, we'll miss you. Thank you. Here's to you. Anyone's listening, raise a glass to Grant. He, Have a drink. All right. Well, moving on to other things we're talking about, but what we're talking about a little more local. We're gonna bring things back to TFC, MLS, CanPL, because there's some things that need. I know, but it's gonna happen eventually, guys. The World Cup is over in less than a week.
Yeah, but people still won't talk about MLS.
Snap back to reality. Anyway.
There's going to be Liverpool versus Man City in the Milk Cup. And
go on. Let's cover this. Okay, so
Milky.
So, Victor Vasquez, who TFC
there's a name I haven't heard in a long time.
took in one of the drafts. I don't know. There's so many MLS drafts, and then we haven't heard much. We haven't really heard anything that's been going on. But then, Twitter was all aflutter, social media, Victor Vasquez himself on his Instagram. It seemed on that Monday was going to be the big day. He was on his way to Toronto. There was going to be a physical done. It just seemed like it was just basically they just needed to sign the contract. And then silence. Now, is it because the physical didn't go well? Is his back really that messed up? Or is it because he wants too much money? Or is it because of what happened next? Which is a very big contract that suddenly got announced for Jonathan Osorio, who is now not going to Europe, if he was ever going to Europe, staying with TFC. Has signed a 3-year plus a 4th-year option deal for who knows how much money. He's a TAM. They're using TAM to pay him. It's going to be a lot of money. We'll find out in the spring when the Players Union releases the salaries, but it's a lot. And of course, this took over everything. So this was the big announcement on Monday, and then yesterday they had the thing down at BMO, and some of the supporters got to go, and Oso was there, and he even smiled. I've heard rumors that he smiled, you guys. I'm not kidding.
Impossible.
I know, but apparently he actually smiled.
Look, all that tells me is that he knows that training doesn't start for another couple months, so he's willing to take the injury of all the muscles he destroyed with that smile. And he's just going to come back angrier than ever, which is great.
Another couple of months. Dude, they're going to Coachella at the beginning of February. He's got like another couple of weeks left, maybe.
Look, I'm just saying, like,
they're playing a friendly at Coachella.
Can I just, there's a Coachella turn. Can I just say how excited I am for when we get to talk about this and talk about their outfits and the music?
They're all going to be tripping balls next year.
No, there's hold on. Let me find the link.
Please tell me the Coachella this is their football tournaments. Please tell me its motto is tripping balls.
Please. I mean, I hope this is real. I mean, I hope the idea of a Coachella friendly is real because that's fun.
I'm not kidding. Toronto FC to participate in you guys don't pay attention. Toronto FC to participate in 2nd annual Coachella Valley Invitational.
Okay,
that stop. Like something for kids.
Stop. First off, 2nd annual is bullshit. Okay, there's no fucking way they did this. They did one already without us knowing about it. Garbage, bullshit. Secondly, who the fuck else got invited to this thing?
All MLS teams
and Beyonce.
The 2023 Coachella Valley
MLS team.
Other MLS teams.
No haka, no party. No haka, no party.
2023 Coachella Valley Invitational will host 12 of the top Major League Soccer clubs for training and a preseason exhibition at the location made famous by the iconic Coachella Valley Music and Arts Festival. Passes will go on sale. Passes are on sale. Oh, let's see how much the passes are. Now that we've gone off on this tangent, let's dive into it. I was going to wait until next month, but
that's fine.
It's too late. I've already.
We're not going. It's fine.
Set up an affiliate link. We'll cash in on this.
Oh my God! Are you kidding me?
I heard Montreal's going to the Fire Festival tournament.
Do you not
the Just for Laughs festival? That's all.
Do you not even want to know who's going to be there with them?
No.
Oh, it's other MLS teams. Who gives a shit?
Yeah.
Come on.
And Lizzo.
Gray,
Well,
yeah.
obs.
8 gray mice, probably Portland.
Obviously
Like-
Portland.
Like whatever. No haka, no party. I'm sorry, you can't have a preseason if there's no random Scandinavian teams, no under 23 Central American teams. Like this, not even a real fucking preseason
There's
tournament.
not even a university team to be found.
Not even a fucking what was Creighton busy? Like Jesus, they're always in these tournaments.
The winner takes on the champion from the Burning Man tournament.
Anyway,
That sounds lit.
so we
Chicago
got
Fire.
Jonathan Osorio. Okay, so let's we'll talk about Coachella later.
Go on.
So we have Jonathan Osorio, who again obviously had been looking at, I think if the right adventure overseas had presented itself to him, he would have jumped at it. And that's not to say that I don't think that he's happy to be playing in Toronto, where he is, considered one of the top players, obviously going to be like the focal point outside of the Italians for this club. They're giving him a massive contract, hometown boy, U sector zone, all of those things, right? Is this a good move for TFC? Is this a good move for him? What do you guys think?
I'm happy for him. I'm genuinely, I'm happy for him. I feel like MLS is forever a wannabe selling league. And I say wannabe because they don't sell that many players.
Mm-hmm.
At least not American players. I mean, who wants those? The good ones have already gone. Just look at the roster.
Yeah, the good ones never go through MLS in the first place.
No, they see a pitfall when way before any draft that super comes knocking on their door. But that being said, like the romantic part of the one club player, like, is difficult, if not impossible, to have. And so far we've got him. And I love the fact that, I mean, under shall we say, non-North American standards, by the year 2030, the Jonathan Osorio stand would be a thing. They would name something after him because.
Oh, is he a big businessman? Is he going to have an actual brand to sponsor?
Oh yeah, Jonathan Osorio energy drinks are coming right down the pipe. Yeah,
perfect. Yeah.
Yeah,
The only way that anyone's getting a stand named after them is if they're a corporate.
He's going to find a way to put something into water and then overprice sell it. So
surely it's going to be an energy breakfast called Osorio's.
Nice. Oh my God, I would totally buy a box. Oh yeah.
I'm assuming it's like mocha flavored, given his love of coffee.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that would be good.
They stay crunchy even if you're having a good day. But anyway, yeah, I'm if only for like that weird narrative of like, hey, look, club legend Jonathan Osorio, when they, instead of trotting Dero out on the field, God love him, trotting out Osorio would be a lot easier sell to Duncan. And I'm only thinking of Duncan in this.
No, as you should.
Thank you.
Yeah. But yeah, like that's, to me, like, I want to see that because I feel like that's part of the, and I know that the fact that this is a club is a myth because it's a franchise, but like, at least make things feel like a club. And this is one of those things. So like, I won't know what his contract actually is until it gets published later, which I think is awesome. But if he's happy, I'm happy. I think the idea of having to go prove yourself overseas because now a Canadian kid can play for his hometown team and make a good chunk of money. Like, this is different. It's different if it was, he was making $100,000 a year and some random, I don't know, Austrian first division team came knocking and was going to offer him $2. Like, maybe $100,000 is enough for him to up sticks and leave. But when you're making significant coin, why, like, it becomes harder to pull away. So like, I don't blame him. And I don't feel there's any wrong answer. I am pro player getting paid and I'm pro player being happy. So if he's getting paid and he's happy, fuck it. I don't care. He's actually a player I want to see resign. So this is tremendous news. Well done on everybody's part.
Well, I think there's also something to be said for the concepts. Like he's potentially going to be a one club player. You know, he'll be 33, maybe 34.
When they trade him to Columbus, you mean?
Yes, when they trade him to Columbus.
Yes, when they trade him to Columbus.
You think he's getting traded? I think he just released and then pops up like 4 days later. And then wins an MLS Cup.
Yes. With Bez still being there.
Bez will still be there.
Jordan Hamilton will have made his way back to win yet another MLS Cup with like 7, sub minutes. But he has that opportunity. He's been with TFC his entire career. This takes him into his early to mid 30s if he finishes out the whole contract. As a midfielder, that's about the time where you start looking around as to whether or not you're going to keep playing, right? So, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. I think it's actually kind of a cool thing. And again, has the potential to cement his legacy in Toronto as this kid who came from the stands, who used to sit in the south end, cheer on the team, go to games. Finally, starts playing in Toronto, and here we go. Is Captain Osorio next when Bradley's gone? Maybe. Who knows, right?
Makes sense, but when's Bradley going?
That's a very good question. Never, apparently.
Yeah, he'll play till he's 55. Thanks, Dad. Fuck.
Freedom 55.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I feel like it's unfortunate that he hasn't already had the armband, but I understand why. Like if Bradley was long gone, if he didn't have the armband, it's like, what are you doing? What are you doing? He to me, in my mind's eye, he's naturally more the captain's role than Bradley is, but that's also an internal matter and this is just me being an outsider looking in. But whenever he gets the armband, it looks proper. It looks like it belongs on him. It looks like it's belonged on him for like the last 3-4 years. So, I hope he gets a crack to be that more than just, oh, Bradley's not playing. Here's the armband, John. Like, no, I want him to have it in not in spite, but like instead of like, yeah, he's playing, but you get it now. Thanks, Dad.
I would say, to go back to the whole question of goods deal or whatever. I think this is definitely good for TFC. As far as Osorio, presumably, he has signed this because he wants to, and I presume that he still would have had options for sort of Europe and that sort of thing, and he's decided to stay with this. So hopefully he's happy with that decision. If so, good for him. Would it be thinking with the sort of like Canada of, let's say from that side of it, would be better if maybe he's going to go off somewhere else in Europe to be trying out and going to break there, then theoretically that could work out, but there's no guarantees for anything there. So yeah, good deal.
I think so. I do. And if he's healthy, he seems to be. He didn't look like he was suffering during the World Cup. He's had more time off to continue to rest and rejuvenate. Preseason starts in whatever, like 3 weeks or something. Because it's usually like the first couple weeks or the second week of January that they usually report back these days.
Oof.
I know, so early, but so yeah, like a healthy Osorio is a huge difference. Like we talked about this many times during the MLS season, how much Toronto was missing him. And even for Canada, again, healthy Osorio makes a difference. So he's got he's got a big role to play for this team and for Canada going forward as well. And I think this helps him. He's got a team to lead and to really contribute to. And he'll obviously continue to play a role for John Herdman. So no, I think it's a great deal. I'm happy for him.
Mm-hmm.
But has all of this sort of derailed or overshadowed the whole thing with Victor Vasquez? Because seriously, like, what happens there? Like, for a good 12 hours, it was all anybody was talking about. I said, Vasquez had it on his Instagram stories, showing his progress towards Toronto, and a couple of people like DM'd him, and he was like, answering very excitedly, kind of thing, like this was going to happen, sort of thing, or fingers crossed, or that sort of thing. Like, it seemed like a done deal. Like it was just going to get announced, at noon on Monday or something, whatever. It just happened. But then the Osorio thing happened instead. So are we looking at a, 5 p.m. Friday news drop, Victor Vasquez signed by Toronto FC? Or is this just going to now, what do you guys think? And do you want Victor Vasquez back at Toronto?
I don't know. It's, to me, it smacks of we can still squeeze something out of this club. Like from 2017, like it's like.
But that's their go-to move.
Yeah, I know. And how's that working out?
Yeah, like 2018 pretty much showed that shouldn't have happened. We've already have. Yeah, I know they went back to the championships, but they also didn't make the final. They didn't even make the postseason the following year. I know, exhaustion, but like that, to me, that showed the cracks. So I understand that 2019 showed that they really, really thought there was still juice, and there was no juice.
He didn't look too bad last season, though.
No, he didn't look. No, what I'm saying is it's the idea of like, let's just go back to what worked. It's like that was now years ago, and I feel like we've finally gotten through the purge of everybody who's no longer fit to be on that pedestal, so to speak. Bringing him back is a risk. I don't know what that risk actually looks like as far as money goes or holding a spot, but like I'm willing to give him a chance, because that creative midfield maestro thing that he was doing, like even if he was playing at, and this is not a disrespect, even if he was playing at Benoit Cheroux levels, where he comes off the pitch, plays for 35 minutes, looks like a wizard for 20 of it, I'll fucking take it.
But that's exactly what I think they might be
absolutely
doing.
Fucking take that,
that's
because
all we're asking from him, surely.
Yeah, because if I'm to
we say that now,
I know he'll be starting for the first 8 games. Yeah, it'll
get injured and then be out for the season. Yeah, be good.
But that's that to me is the risk. That's the position I would ideally see him in. I'm obviously not the gaffer, but like, we fixed this team so many times. We
exactly. You'd think they listen.
We record how successful we've been. Like, come on.
Yes.
But as long as this isn't like we're signing a starter, but we're signing depth, and the contract reflects that depth, and he's happy with it, then yeah, let's do this. But if Vasquez thinks that he's, starter material, okay, let's see what the physical says.
I guess I don't know. As a signing at like 37, heading towards 38, is like, does TFC think they're making a run for the cup this year or in 2023? Yes. They do. Well,
I'm just assuming, then the Italians will have had an off season, and Osorio's healthy. They're going to get a new keeper or 6,
And how many new defenders?
Well,
there's that guy that apparently is still kicking around that they're trying to sign.
I'm just saying, like, Victor Vasquez is a guy you bring in to help you, like Galaxy did, because they were they wanted to make a run for winning it all. TFC, I don't know. Sure, I know that in this league you can get hot and win the cup, I guess. But if that's the club's philosophy, it's alarming. Like what happened to like trying to build a club that can like, and even if you had mild success and had a playoff run, like, okay, he's done next year, start all over. I don't know. Returns are rarely successful.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be interesting. That's
and I
for
like
sure.
him. Yeah, he was great at the time.
Yeah,
like, don't get me wrong,
wonderful.
but at the time, I think we're starting to forget how long ago that was.
Oh no,
like
it was like 4 years ago.
I know it seems like it happened recently, but yeah,
5 years ago. 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, what was 4 years ago? 2017? That's like 6 years ago next season, which is really what we're talking about here.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
That's a whole World Cup cycle.
And a half. I mean, it's potentially a decent plan B to have on the bench where, all right, things aren't quite working out. You know, you may play against some stubborn defensive team that's just sitting back for 0-0 and you can't break through. It's a better plan B than, well, let's just sub in Nick Hagland and throw him up front and see what happens.
Oh, those are the days.
Those were the days.
Good time.
Slam and salmon.
Yeah, I mean, if that's all it is, and the salary cap world, the price tag reflects that role, then sure.
No, it's harmless. Like it's harmless unless it's taking away from putting someone in that, like, and it comes down to salary. Putting someone in that spot who maybe could give you 4 or 5 years and develop.
Yeah.
You know, who's on the verge of being a starter. If you're spending it rather on a guy to try to relive past glories, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, you know, how many of young kids have like TFC had kind of like in the lineup or on the edges of the lineup? Like last year, there was like a lot of them. There was like too many, but you know, some of them should be there. Would Victor Vasquez has taken away, say, like Jaden Nelson's minutes, or, or the Noble Okello, or is he even still with the team? Then let's not be doing that. But yeah, who knows? It might work.
Well, okay. Well, speaking of TFC's defense, Daniil Henry, who TFC did not offer a contract after the season, is going to Minnesota. The Loons have signed him to, is it a 1-year contract? It's probably a 1-year contract. That's what would make sense. But what I enjoyed about him going there, and the fact that I like Minnesota, so it makes me happy, because I would watch Minnesota matches so I can watch Daniil. But I very much appreciated the nice sort of like highlight video they put together for him on their socials. I was like, yes, you welcome Daniil Henry. You do that. I was like, thank you. But yeah, good for him. I think it's, you know, it's not a bad place for him to be. We'll see how much he plays. Hopefully a fair bit. He also does play with, you know, he has played with Dane St. Clair, so they could be looking at that as, you know, familiarity, defense, keeper, friendship,
board game buddy, drinking pal,
friendship,
each other's DD. Yeah, there's this could go any number of ways, Kristin.
Do we have to call him Daniil the Body Henry now?
I don't know. We just might.
I mean, that photo of him.
Anyway, so that's
that photo of him from TSN in the press release or the news of it.
Yes.
I don't know how it looks like he has trouble going through doors. His shoulders have the wingspan of a small, like, Boeing. Like, it's incredible. Like, calling him the body is like, fuck yeah, I'm not pissing him off. Yeah, it's just.
Well, that's the thing. He's not the Daniil we used to watch as a kid, right? Like, he has certainly bulked up over the years. He's a big guy.
Oh yeah, he's a tank.
So he's a bit of a beast. So anyway,
get him a big long feather pink boa, and then get him on those conspiracy theories.
McMahon.
I think it's a good move for him. So I'm happy. I'm just happy to see him like pretty much immediately get with another club, right? So I think I always like that.
Yeah.
Um,
Wasn't getting playing time in Toronto. Hopefully he will there, but yeah.
exactly.
Bob Bradley, the coach, certainly didn't like him. I don't know exactly who decided to sign him, but Bob Bradley, the coach, obviously didn't like him to play him. So, yeah, try somewhere else. If it all goes wrong, there's always Cyprus.
Yeah, back to the restaurant game.
Back to the restaurant, exactly.
Yeah.
Speaking of TFC's defensive core or players at the back, Alex Bono off to DCU.
Oh, no.
Mm-hmm.
Haha. I mean, haha.
Like, I find, like, is he the replacement for Bill Hamid? No, someone else
I
is
hope
already.
so. That would be a mistake.
Someone else already sort of replaced Bill Hamid because he was injured a lot of last season. But still, you know what? Whatever. Good for him for finding a landing place. I wish him well-ish. Good luck, except for against Toronto, obviously. I don't hold any malice to Alex Bono. Just was never my favorite player. That's it. You know, he was fine. I just never quite got the whole Bono fever. I don't know. I just never got it.
That's not a fever. More like the Bono sniffles. I mean, nothing like I mean, given sometimes you can't catch Bono fever because he can't catch. So, I mean, there's that. And then there's the whole line and him motherfucking staying on it. Okay. Like, the good thing about him moving to DC is that I think it will give a fair representation as to whether or not how much of his slide is because of him or the players standing in front of him. I don't think it's completely on him, but there have definitely been some things where it's like, normal goalkeepers would have played that differently, but you chose this. And okay, like maybe the new gaffer will beat that out of him. That's entirely fine. Maybe the system won't allow for him to come so bloody far off of his line like he's playing in League One Ontario. I see you keepers. You guys are playing like sweepers, and it makes me nervous as shit, and y'all deserve to be punished. I don't care what your manager says. That being said, I feel like this is what he needs to kind of, I don't want to say rejuvenate his career. He's fine. He's perfectly capable MLS keeper, but we'll have a better sense as to, oh, it was you? Okay. That's why we wanted Quentin Westberg
cue
all
up the
that
T-Swift song. Yeah. Anyway, so congratulations. Good luck. Whatever. Okay.
Thanks for 2017. He was definitely very good within that whole player front in 2017, and even in 2018 Champions League until that moment when he really wasn't very good, he was good. So thanks for those times, but that's a long time ago now.
Seconded. All said.
Hashtag lemon.
Oh, actually, sorry. There is one more that's not that. I meant to mention this very quickly. Clint Irwin. Speaking of keepers that we owe thanks to and that often get forgotten because he was one of the reasons we were very successful. Has also joined Minnesota. So I guess as veteran backup mentor type dealio.
This is conspiracy.
It's very interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
So he's already familiar. Would have been familiar with Danielle Henry, probably. Danielle might have been gone by then. Anyway,
I don't think they were here at the same time.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. Danielle's probably already gone. But is probably familiar with Stuart Kerr. So, oh wait, no, he's probably gone too. Never mind. Anyway, it's interesting. It's
The
interesting.
story's going places.
Yeah.
I'm not editing this.
Terrible story. No, don't. All right, on to the Campiel. And in the least surprising big announcement ever, it was so silly to do it. So last night there was some breathless tweets. Oh, big announcement. Vancouver FC is going to announce their first official player signing. And everyone's like, So it's Callum Irving. It's Callum. We all already know that it's Callum Irving because he left Pacific because he was going to Vancouver. Sure enough, it's Callum Irving. So congratulations, Callum Irving, on officially being Vancouver FC's first player. Well done, you.
Right.
I know. It was just
Well
like,
done.
okay.
Good on Calamari.
Yep.
I did not call him calamari.
No, we're calling him calamari.
He's got squid for hands.
He's got squid for hands.
Yep.
The more important news about Vancouver FC is when they released the list of the names that they could have had, the voting.
Oh, I didn't see that.
It was, I don't know why they put it out there, probably to prove that everyone was really behind Vancouver FC as a name, because maybe this public. But under the name and derivatives vote section, number 4, so Vancouver, Valley, and Fraser were number 3. Number 4 was not sure.
Was what now?
Not sure. I guess it was one of the votes. 7% of people who voted for not sure. It beat Langley.
It beat Langley.
Yeah, which is a shame.
Langley. Yeah.
Which is a shame because what a great name, Not sure would have been.
I want the half and half friendship scarf of Not Sure FC and Unattached FC, shaking hands in the middle. I will, if my Kickstarter reaches its first stretch goal, I will fucking make that. There is no Kickstarter. I will make that scarf and offer it to everybody who contributes to the $5,000 tier
Level.
Thank you. Yeah. There is no Kickstarter. I just need a space is really what it is.
Not sure.
I mean, what should Vancouver's name have been, really? I mean, if you go with like what's their sort of CPL, just stupid name, what would have been out there that evokes Vancouver?
Integrity FC. There we go.
Yeah.
Because the owners own 2 teams, so why not?
THCFC.
THC. Okay.
THC.
Yeah.
Huh? THC.
Exactly. THC. It's
this is
what?
Right, to steal from the Yorkies, Crystal Meth Palace. Right?
Yeah.
Classic.
Yes.
Yeah. I still use that in a chat group I'm in with a bunch of EPL people, and they're always like, they always laugh at it. They're like, "Oh, this is the best." And I was like, "Yeah, I totally stole that from my friend."
Well, apparently, so on the specific names voting list, Vancouver FC came first, but not with although I don't know how their percentages are working because they don't seem to come to 100%, but whatever. Fraser Valley FC was second. Vancouver City FC was third. Vancouver United was fourth.
Vancouver Town was fifth. Vancouver Athletic was sixth.
No, it was Langley FC, Fraser FC, Valley FC, Cascadia FC, which would have been just
that would have been the highest eye roll I could possibly give.
Metro, something just called Metro Vancouver, which sounds like a police force, and then Greater Vancouver FC was
Greater Vancouver.
That was an option. Who the fuck came up with that?
Call it that? It's the lower.
Were there write-in votes?
I don't know. To be fair, Greater Vancouver only got 0.93%.
That's a vote, and that one person should never be allowed to go to a soccer game.
No kidding.
That's the trap. That's the trap option. If you pick that, you are completely disqualified from being in public ever again.
Well, so I guess the first section was like kind of what region it should be named after, because it was Vancouver and kind of derivative of a region. So that's where the not sure landed. Vancouver, Valley, Fraser, like I said, not sure coming in a strong fourth. Langley, then Langley, Cascadia, BC. That would have been just truly like arrogant. Yes. Mainland, Metro, Rain, and then
you go Rain
FC, yeah.
And then Kwantlen,
or just FC Rain. Ooh.
Kwantlen, and then I don't forgive my lack of Kwantlen, Kwantlen. And then the last one, which I'm not quite sure about, STO:LO, Stolo.
Literally no idea.
I'm all for this one.
Clue.
I'm all for this one. I don't want to know.
Something up there. but whatever.
I hope
I'm
it's
trying,
dirty.
I'm trying to think of which cousin I should text to ask. What the fuck?
What up with Stolo?
What up with Stolo?
It's like a First Nations
okay.
indigenous group in the area.
Oh, well, that would have been wow. I guess
Chariot.
I guess that would have been cool, but then again, maybe not. Maybe just appropriation of a name. So I don't know. It only got the 0.51% of the vote. So
Okay, if the people have spoken and this is what they want, then I'm willing to take off making fun of the name given where they play right off the table. Because
can we keep making fun of the logo?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, good.
Oh, it's
a dick falling from space.
Oh man, I want to make a commercial with that as the theme right there. Buy your season's tickets now. Tony, do the part.
It's a dick falling from space.
1-800-FC Vancouver or Vancouver FC. Get your tickets now. That's always available for laughter. But
what about the INXS's Guns in the Sky? Dongs in the Sky. Dongs in the sky. Dongs in the sky.
Dongs in the sky falling on your head. Dongs in the sky. The midfielder to be.
Yeah, and for the video, they're just walking through and they're throwing out like on the cards because doesn't he have one of the guys is like got cue cards?
Yeah, he just.
So just the names of the players, he's just throwing them down.
Yes, that's exactly it.
Right now, it just says calamari. Because they've only got one player. I feel like there needs to be more INXS Canadian football references. So I'm 100% here for this.
Well, there's one down. Dongs in the Sky for Vancouver FC. Poor Edmonton already took Never Tear Us Apart.
Oh.
They were there.
That rabbit got skinned
for a couple of years.
If they hurt you. Oh my God. It works far too well. Oh no. All right, let's move on.
It really could be a Mystify FC. I mean, that would totally fit into Forge, Valor, what have you.
Oh yeah, Mystify.
Where would it even be? Who knows?
What's Canada's magic town?
Ooh, Niagara. Does Niagara need a club?
Ooh, good point. Yeah, why not?
Yeah, but they've got a million other things you could like. Wouldn't they just be Flume?
Flume FC.
Rapids.
Oh God.
Taken, Tony. Calgary could be a kick because sometimes you kick and sometimes you get kicked because they're never going to be the best. They're just always going to be not. But this has got legs. This has got legs. We'll
as long as Becker plays for Hamilton, Suicide Blonde.
Good one. I like that.
Oh my goodness! All right, we gotta move on from this though. Holy shit! In other incredibly exciting CanPL news, this is actually exciting, and I'm still in shock that it's actually happening. The CanPL and the PFA of Canada, Players Professional Football Association, which is the players union, have come to an agreement to conduct a secret ballot representation vote by the players. If successful, PFA Canada will become the recognized bargaining agent for all CPL players.
Hooray.
Massive. Like the fact that it is finally come to something positive between the league and the union, instead of them having to do all this rigmarole and go province to province and just all this nonsense.
Yeah. How the vote happens, all the players have to send their ballots to Davy Clackers, and then he announces whatever the results are. No one gets to look at it. I'm going to announce the results. And, what do you know? The players voted not to do it.
And Davy Clackers announces he's got the expansion territorial rights for some other place.
Yes.
How's that Windsor coming along? Hurry up.
I think there's just based on what we know and conversations we've had with Dan Crook from the PFA and like what players have put out there, player representatives that are involved. There's no way this doesn't go through. Although we don't know what the percentage is, but considering the first couple times they've gone through and had players sign intent cards, they were hitting over 90%. And you really can't ask for, no one ever asks for that much for unions. So anyway, so between the 15th and the 19th, so tomorrow, day after recording, until Monday, they will be voting online, and then the results will be announced fairly quickly afterwards. The vote will be conducted by an arm's length third-party provider specializing in online voting.
Davy Clackers.
Yeah.
Clacker Industries.
So Dan and the union and the player reps, both that are still currently players, a couple that have recently retired, hello Drew Becky, have been, out there talking about this online, obviously talking to their fellow players individually for the last few months. Anyways, there's just been a lot of work happening, right? So please support the players in this. Retweet the PFA tweets or the player tweets about this vote. It's hugely important for the CAMPL players to have this kind of representation, to have this voice speaking for them, to continue to see gains in salaries, in benefits, and just in communication with the league in terms of schedules and physio and their health and all of those things. Like it's a big deal. And I'm still just like blown away that this is happening. So this is amazing. I am thrilled, and again shocked that it's happening.
But I guess we'll see what happens from it. But yeah, that's good that it's reached this point, and you've got to think that they would actually go ahead and vote in a positive way, and that this will actually be there. So hooray, power to the people, and all of that.
Indeed.
About time.
Amen.
Yes. All right. Well, I got one thing left to talk about, and that's what's coming up. And we got 2 matches left in this World Cup. Third place match on Saturday between Croatia and Morocco. And the final on Sunday between Argentina and France. And both big deal matches for different reasons. Obviously, the final is the final, right? We'll talk about that in a minute. But the third place match, you've got, again, the underdog, Morocco, who still has, like, this is getting to the semifinals was massive, right? Like, they've already proven their point and made a huge splash at this World Cup. But to sort of win another match, I think would be, like that again, that would be a sort of a pin in their World Cup journey, as it were. And then you've got you've got Croatia, who have Luka Modric, probably his last World Cup match. I don't think he'll be back in 3.5 years. What do you like? Do you guys think Modric will come back?
No. Not likely.
Like,
no,
he's.
It's possible, but that's under the assumption. It's not even so much will Modric be healthy. Will Croatia not have somebody to take his spot by then?
Yeah.
Because I mean, even a third. So. What is he? 37 now?
Mm-hmm.
Is what it is? So is basically a 41-year-old Modric still the best midfielder they have versus a 26-year-old player who's on the rise and is can run for days. Like that's the thing. So
yeah,
much as I think the story it would be nice for him to be there, bench at best, but I'm guessing he'll have hang up his boots by then.
So this is a big match for both teams. And plus, you always want to sort of recoup a little respect, right? Right. Now, no,
I don't think
no respect to be had.
I don't think either. Both teams have all the respect in the world right now. There's nothing to play for here. Both teams are going to be exhausted. And
we're going to roll out the kids.
Yeah, they've had the emotional stuffing kicked out of them. It's these are two teams that are very much kind of set up, right? It's kind of more defensive, and it wasn't specifically about the skill or whatever. It's more about just kind of the attitude and what have you, and just the defensive, what have you. They've got nothing to play for anymore. It's I think that's going to be taking a big drop down. I'm expecting a bit of a
relaxed match,
characteristic, a bit of a sloppy defensive shit show here. I'm going to say it's 3-1 Croatia.
Okay.
Yeah,
all right.
I think
they did. Yeah, their first match way back in the group stage, they did play to a 0-0 draw. So neither. Yeah.
That's the other very possible alternative is they will both keep their defensive whatever going and it will end 0-0. But I think now there's a big drop off for both of them. 3-1 Croatia.
Yeah, sounds about right. Poor Morocco's emotionally have probably exhausted their reserves.
But
I feel like as much as I would love to see Morocco win this, I feel like emotionally, I think they've run their course. And I also feel like Croatia will try to win any game they play, regardless of what the stakes. Even playing the B team is they're going for blood. So in this case, I think Croatia is going to get another bronze. Another? Didn't they finish third once before? Or was it fourth?
They finished second. They
were runner-up last time.
I'm talking about bronze medals. Yeah. Okay. No, I'm just kidding.
Anyway.
Yes. Okay. Then they'll get another medal then for around their necks. I forgot about the runners-up.
The other thing that I would just like to point out for this match is that whoever wins is the ultimate champion of our group.
That's right.
Yes, the Group F champion. That's the
Group F champion. Come on, that's got to count for something. Clearly, that's what this is all about now is ultimate Group F champion.
Well, they'll be the third and fourth teams. So does that make Canada the sixth best team at the World Cup?
Definitely.
Yes,
I'm running with that. That's perfect math. I totally agree.
Yeah.
Perfect. Huzzah. Okay.
Name another team that has scored goals against both Croatia and Morocco.
Exactly. You can't.
Yep.
Done. Science right there. Yes. Okay. On to the final. Argentina versus France. Sunday morning, 10 a.m. Both matches are at 10 a.m. Eastern time. One on Saturday, one on Sunday. Messi in, again, basically his last World Cup. Most likely, he won't be back in 3.5 years. No. And then France, looking to be the first repeat champion in how many years? A lot of years.
64. No, actually, it would be 58 since it was repeated.
Okay. So.
What? No,
huge thing. So Messi has never won. This is Messi is always 60. Sort of has this one of the best, not one of the best, the best player. He's amazing, right? He's the best player in the world. One of the greats of all time. His name will be, go down through the ages, whatever. But has had, for the most part, really shit luck at the international level with Argentina. It almost never seems to come together. And I say almost because it has come close once, and then they won this last year, so that was great to see. But mostly it's been wah, wah, wah. So there's a lot emotionally in this match, as well as just general football passion and emotion. I honestly don't know which. Like, I'm still sticking with Argentina to win, but I will not be surprised if France wins. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But I think both are equally likely to win this for different reasons. I think France is the more talented team. But I do, just having watched Messi through the tournament so far, I'm getting a very strong sense of I'm picking this team up and putting them on my tiny shoulders. And doing that. That's sort of like the feeling you get from watching him right now. Thoughts?
I don't know. I think it's going to be a cliched thing to say, but the team who plays their game to the highest level is going to win. It's that even, I think. They're both dangerous in different ways. Both capable of making a mistake as well. It could come down to that. Looking at you, Hugo Lloris.
Oh, big time.
Yeah, agreed. It is very difficult to say, obviously, this team will win or not. I would hope that Argentina can just drag this whole thing down into a bit of a sort of shithousey, everyone kicking the shit out of everyone kind of match and everything. And like the game against the Netherlands ended up being. And then, if it gets to that kind of thing, then I think they would win. I think they'd be better at that kind of game than the French. So, go out there, get into them, fuck them up, and let's have a big sort of shithousey, lots of fouls, yellow cards all over the place, a lot of feistiness kind of final. That's what I'm hoping for. I doubt it'll happen, but if that happens, I think Argentina's better at that kind of thing. And then, you got that, add in like something, Messi can make something happen. And Argentina wins. That's what I hope will happen.
Yeah, I'm torn because as much as I don't particularly care for Argentina, I would love to see Messi win a cup.
Yeah.
I feel like
it for me.
I feel like the whole legacy of his name. I mean, he's still one of the greats. It's not Pele, Maradona, but being third, fourth, fifth in that list is no slouch either. And he's already up there. So let's just kind of give that crowning achievement. As for the other 11 guys on the pitch in light blue and white, whatever.
The other 11, they get an extra player?
Oh, no, the other 10. I meant 10. I had,
just subs and everything.
They're subs.
Okay, fine. They're subs. Sure.
Thanks,
if I had said it, you would never let me forget it. But because Mark
Duncan.
said it,
Thanks, Duncan.
you back him to the moon.
Yeah,
Hashtag
I've got a lot of respect for Mark. I'm willing to accept a mistake that is
so no respect for me. Amazing. I don't know.
Oh, that's not what I said, Kristin.
So where was I? Oh yeah. So aside from the other 10 players for Argentina, that being said, I feel like this is France's to win. They've just been. They've had answers for everybody. They've had relentless attacking, creative attacking. It seems like all the goals end up going through Giroud at some point in time, but that's not actually the case. Like for a guy who was basically going to be the substitute striker, he has made quite the name for himself again in this tournament, and everybody's playing well around him. Like the goals are coming in from literally anyone. And that makes it scary as fuck when you're trying to, like, you can't just neutralize one guy because there's still 5 other guys who can easily put that ball in, and the other ones you're overlooking can also do it too, but they're just further away. And like, it's crazy how how composed and how much depth the French have demonstrated throughout the tournament. Like even when batten down the hatches, like they still keep their head in it. Like at no point do they look like they're going to collapse under the pressure. Today's game day of recording, the Moroccans went at them after they conceded the first goal. They went after them for the next 60 minutes. And it was just incredible how they just, not only did they resist them, but it was just like, okay. Like there was no point, like nobody was yelling at each other. Like, what are you doing? Like there's none of that blame and pointing fingers. It's like they had it completely under control. And not to say that Moroccan attack is going to be anywhere near the same level of intensity or creativity as an Argentinian attack, but it was still a semifinal. There were still stakes on the line, and conceding means probably going home.
Yeah. Anyway, the other sort of, you were talking about the attacks between Argentina and France, and how cohesive France has been, and although Argentina's put together some nice things, the other storyline, because there's just I love the World Cup. There's so many things. I believe after today's match, because didn't Mbappe have an assist? So I think Messi and Mbappe are both tied for the Golden Boot right now. Goals and assists. Okay. They have the exact same amount, I believe. So this is the decider as well, which is fun. It just adds to it. It's just fun. I just like it. I think this is going to be, I'm hoping it's a very good match. It should be. I think they're equally matched in different ways. Like they obviously don't play the same style of game, and France is deeper, but I do think that Argentina is really dynamic, especially again with how Messi's been playing. So, but they've also seen some really good performances from other players. So yeah, I think it's going to be a fun match. I'm sticking with Argentina. 2-1 for Argentina.
I'll go with 3-1 France. It's not a blow. But that third goal is like the counterattack nail in the coffin. Okay. I think.
I'll go. Yeah, kind of like, I think it's kind of similar. 3-1 Argentina, but 3-1 not really being reflective of the game.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's fair. Yeah, can totally see that.
Like France having to push up late. So
yeah,
I got 2-0 Argentina. We'll get some kind of early goal, and then they'll just kind of settle into kicking the shit out of France, getting them frustrated, getting them out of their game and everything, and
late penalty.
Yeah, why not?
Works. Okay. It's going to be good, and we're going to talk about it more next week, because that's the end of our show.
Right. We have to take a break. We have to do another one of these next week.
Well, we have to talk about the final and then the CanPL vote. These are very important things.
Oish.
Then we're gonna have a holiday break. I promise.
What are you giving us?
I'm not telling you now.
Also fair.
You find out next week. But that is our show for this week. Please do join us next week when we do recap the rest of the World Cup, talk about our favorite moments, hopefully celebrate PFA Canada being recognized as the union for the CanPL players, find out what's happened with Victor Vasquez, and whatever else is interesting in the world of football that happens between now and then. I have been joined by the entire Vocal Minority Podcast panel, as per usual, to be found out there on the Twitters at Duncan D. Fletcher, Mr. Duncan Fletcher.
GFC have also picked me up off waivers, but they're never going to sign me. It happens.
Oh,
are you negotiating too hard, Duncan?
Maybe.
It's not fair, Duncan. You deserve better.
Yeah,
Thank you, man.
Hold out for the good money. Out in the Twitterverse at malarkey FC, Mr. Tony Walsh.
I would have signed for TFC if it wasn't for that pesky Osorio.
His little dog too. On the tweet machines at Kit Nerd Mark with a K, not a Q, Mr. Mark Hinckley.
Looks like we solved another mystery, gang.
Yay!
Thank you to everybody who continues to support our podcast via Patreon. We absolutely appreciate it. We still have shirts. You can find them on our Zazzle shop. You can go to vocalminority.ca to find out all the fun stuff that we've got there. And we're still on the YouTubes. It's slowly growing. Thank you to those who have subscribed. We appreciate that immensely. And I would just want to give, as we're wrapping up this World Cup, one subtle middle finger to Belgium. In spite of me picking them to win the whole thing, I did win one pool. and I finished mid-table in the other one. So, Hazard, De Bruyne, fuck you. I can do it myself. There you go.
You tell him, Mark.
Yeah, Jesus Christ. You picked him to win and still win the pool. What does I mean, the other three aren't that footy, but still. It's a brag, but it's also a shame brag. So,
Mike, did you run yourself a pool with just you and 3 1-year-olds?
I wouldn't give a phone to a 1-year-old. I'm not an irresponsible parent, uncle, or otherwise. No.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Anyway, as for me, you can find me on the internet. Yes, the entire internet at KZ Knowles. I have been your host, Kristin Knowles. And until next week, Canada, get used to it.